Well, the Browns, according to CBSSports.com, Bud, now have an identity. They've had identities before, but you just didn't want them. That winless season, that was an identity.
That was an identity, yeah.
How'd that go?
Hapless was an identity of a number of seasons, but that one in particular.
All right. Well, we're at the point of the season or preseason where national guys have, women and men, have decided where certain teams are going to be, this way, in the middle, and now the deciding votes come in to see what they're really going to happen. It's the low-hanging fruit part of the schedule. And Josh Edwards of CBSSports.com says Cleveland spent a lot of money on right tackle Jack Conklin and tight end Austin Hooper. Some analysts will take issue with their strategy to spend money on a less appreciated position. However, it shows they have an identity. The Browns are going to set up the pass through the run game. The fullback position was introduced in the form of a trade for Andy Janovich, and by the time the draft arrived, general manager Andrew Berry had filled every role except left tackle and would be focusing on the best talent with each selection. Cleveland was able to end their play. We'll see if the team is in position to end their playoff drought, which dates all the way back to 2002. Well, that's a simple question. What have they done besides get a new coach, which is certainly a plus? But what have they done? Have they done the right things in the positions that needed to be filled?
Well, I think they certainly improved their offensive line, and I think we look at what happened last year with that offensive line and with Baker Mayfield, and I wouldn't want to attribute all of his problems to the line or to the coach. I think some of it falls on his shoulders, but I do think that offensive line was subpar, and I think that was a critical improvement over the offseason. So
you wouldn't say they're subpar now?
What's that?
You wouldn't say that that offensive line is subpar now?
No, and we know they're young at left tackle. Would you have preferred a veteran Pro Bowler at that position? Sure. But we know from Joe Thomas's career here, as good as he was, you better have other pieces around a quarterback, or that's not going to be the answer. So I like what they've done. I think they've put money into to an offensive line and to a position at tight end where they needed improvement. It's one thing to say, well, Njoku's talented and I would bring him back too based on his talent, but you also can't live and die with his drops and with his injuries and that kind of thing. So it's Austin Hooper, I thought, was a big critical pickup for them.
It also appears they've not done anything with the linebacking position, shoring that up. And the question is that all by design from the beginning, or the fact they were able to find some players that might help another group out on the field, or they don't believe in the linebacker being Ray Nitschke anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think those of us who grew up with linebackers being maybe the best player on the defense in many cases, and I'm thinking in terms of not just Butkus and Nitschke and those guys from way back, but guys like Lawrence Taylor. I think we have to realize that in this era of NFL football, that a lot of GMs and a lot of teams do not see it that way. They're good. They need good players there, but they're certainly have decided that pass rusher and cornerback and in some cases a safety that they can play anywhere on the field have become more important than the linebackers.
Yeah.